Good evening, Epitome. It's actually Thursday instead of Wednesday. I'm here for an extra day this week to talk about something kind of important that just happened, the presidential debate. Now, this was the first of three presidential debates between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney, and on this one, they pretty much just talked about domestic and economic issues. Since I'm sure you've already watched it, I will spare you the details of the summary, and I'll get right down to brass tacks. I first want to say that, despite what you might have heard on the news and stuff, this debate really isn't something that you win. Honestly, it's mostly them presenting their ideas to each other and like, counter arguing and stuff. And I mean, yes, it's a debate, and yes, you can win. But I think both candidates debated well enough to the point where there wasn't really a concise winner. I mean, sure, in some regards, one did better than the other, but that doesn't mean one of them won the entire debate overall. And that brings me to my first point. If you were to judge the debate by appearances alone, Mitt Romney won by a long shot. He just had this attitude of confidence around him that he knew what he was talking about, and he was relaying it very well to the audience, compared to Barack Obama, who was more kind of laid back. He seemed really tired, actually. I mean, he might have, I just don't actually know. But Romney seemed to have a lot more high notes than Obama did. Obama kind of kept it monotonous throughout the whole thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but compared to Mitt Romney's ecstacy, kind of borderline franticness at times, it was kind of a losing point for Barack Obama. Unfortunately, a lot of people only look at that. They only kind of look at the surface things. And if they see someone who's extremely confident like Romney, they're going to be, oh, I want to vote for that guy. And the guy who's kind of just being like, oh, well, yeah, they're not going to know what they're saying. I mean, a lot of times people just don't listen to the words. And that's just not okay. You have to listen to what they say. You can't just look at them and think they're pretty and, oh, I'm going to vote for them. Which brings me to my second point, the actual substance. Let's be honest, neither candidate is really optimal. At this point, it's the lesser of two evils. That being said, both candidates did debate their topics pretty well for the most part. There were outlandish claims on both sides, and then there were things that weren't brought up or weren't pushed. So overall, they both did well, but they didn't do great. Both candidates were extremely vague on their economic issues, especially Romney, who still hasn't told us what his plan is specifically. I mean, he keeps saying, I'm going to close loopholes, but cut taxes, stuff like that. We need a specific plan. On the other hand, Barack Obama really didn't make clear his over $200,000 per year income plan to tax them more. He mentioned it, but it really wasn't at the forefront. That's kind of one of the major issues to reducing deficit spending, is to tax those who do have more money. And while I can kind of understand why he would be a little bit more reserved to saying that outright, the middle class and the lower class probably would like to hear that their taxes would stay the same or maybe even go down, while those who are making so much more money will stop getting the tax breaks. Part of Romney's plan included cutting a lot of government spending that really wasn't necessary, including, cutting funding to PBS. I mean, he did that with Jim Lehrer right there. I mean, I don't understand. That was a little bit not, I don't know. That wasn't very tactful of him. But he wasn't specific enough on other types of spending. He did call Obama out on the $90 billion to green energy. While I do agree with green energy, I don't believe that much money should be going into it right now. Like, yes, we need to find alternative energy sources, but it needs to be kind of a slower process. I'm not exactly sure what I'm saying, but $90 billion is a lot of money. Romney's claims about the $716 billion being taken from Medicare, Medicaid, and being put into Obamacare is kind of true, but it's not like $716 is just gone. It's being used in kind of different ways. One of the things that George W. Bush did during his presidency was to give money to private insurance companies, and hopefully like the competition would drive down insurance prices and make it easier for people to get healthcare. Unfortunately, that didn't work, and this is basically kind of the solution. It gives the money mostly to the hospitals directly, cuts out the middleman. One thing about the Obamacare issue that I don't think Obama actually realizes is when Mitt Romney, or whenever people say, or he says that Obamacare was modeled after Romney Care up in Massachusetts. And I mean, Mitt Romney admits it. Like, yes, it's very similar to the plan that I made. Obama just keeps saying, like, oh, well, why don't you like this? You made it. But it's more of the kind of thing where Romney wants it to be each individual state making up their own rules, not a universal rule. And whether or not you or I agree with that is not really the point. It just doesn't seem like Barack Obama is actually understanding what Romney is actually saying with that. Oh, also, going back for a little bit, Jim Lehrer, I feel really sorry for the guy. I mean, that must have been a very difficult debate to moderate. He didn't do that great of a job. He kind of let the candidates walk all over him, which, I mean, at some point, how do you tell the president, shut up? So, yeah, he probably should have done a better job, but I don't think I could have done a better job. So, hopefully the next two moderators will be a little bit more strict with the times. We'll be able to get more questions in, because I really want to hear more, either more questions or more real debate. Seeing as I'm going a little bit long, let me just bring up one last issue. Romney spending more on defense. I don't remember the exact number, and I don't want to look it up right now. But he wants to actually increase spending on defense. To be perfectly honest, yes, defense is very important, and there needs to be spending, but that doesn't mean it needs to be a sinkhole. Romney keeps talking about he wants the American military to be second to none. To my knowledge, it's not second to none. I mean, if you look at China's military, it doesn't even compare. They commissioned their first aircraft carrier this year. Their first aircraft carrier. United States has been using aircraft carriers since World War II, about 60 years ago. That's a very, very long time. And, I don't know, Romney just, as a conservative, or Republican, I guess, they feel like defense is one of the big issues, and they need to spend more and more money, and that's always not always the solution, to be honest. Anyways, the next presidential debate is October 16th, and the one after that is the October 22nd debate. The 16th is where they'll have questions from the audience, and the second one is going to be purely about foreign policy. So make sure you watch those. Also on October 11th is the vice presidential debate. I have no idea how that's going to work out. They're both kind of, you know. Anyways, I'm really sorry about the long video, but I'm hoping you enjoyed it. So anyways, yeah, Siddharth, I'll see you tomorrow. P.S. I'm going to be in Austin this weekend for this.